Hi. Right. Hopefully this is going to be of some use to you. Now, when you work, this is just a minion pattern I did some time ago. When you work in the round, you have this lovely benefit of all of the stitches all the way down being the same way out, should we say. They all face the same way, so it's nice and neat. Now, when you have to do something that is a different shape, you have to come back and forth, and you get this alternate. So you've got all these lovely circular rounds, and then you have to do the back and forth, return your work, chain one, work all the way back, chain one, work all the way back. So you get this alternating stripe pattern appear. And I was redoing another minion of late, and I thought to myself, I don't like the look of that. So this one is not quite finished yet. And you can just see that this is the back of the dungarees here. And instead of doing the chain one, turn your work, and then work back, chain one, turn your work, and work back, and doing this alternating, rotating process, I decided that I would have a go at trying to keep my stitches all the same way, so that they all face out, just like in the working in the rounds process, but instead you're working back and forth, but you're keeping your stitches facing out. Now, it can be a little bit clunky when you first start, as mine very much was, but I'm going to have a go show you how to do it. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to do it right-handed. Now, I've done this already. I'm just using a large 4.5mm hook. I've done several rows of chaining one and turning, chaining one and turning, and you can see, you know, the stripe is starting to appear. So now what I'm going to do is I do still turn my work, but I work backwards. So let's just work this out. So let's assume we've got to the end of our row, and normally, I've done a chain one already, but normally you would chain one, then you would turn your work. Actually, you turn it that way to keep the yarn behind, and then you would come in from the front. Now for me, this time, the way I had my brain work is I turned it the opposite way, so my yarn stays in front of my work here. So the yarn stays between me and the hook. Now, this is very cat-handed, and I'm not going to say it isn't anything other than that. And the first few stitches, you have to do a lot of twisting. But basically, the way it works is you're going to come in from behind your work, and you're going to work backwards. It's not the same as a reverse single crochet. That's called a crab stitch, as I found out, and it adds a twist to the stitch. Now, this is basically a single crochet as if you're working left-handed, but in a right-handed fashion. So the first one can be a bit tricky to find, so you might need to enhance your loop a little bit. But basically, you need to come in from the front of this first stitch here. So I'm going to come in just to show you from this side. It gets easier as you go, and I'm just going to tighten my yarn a bit so that the loop is through. Okay, so I've come in from the back of the stitch in towards me. Now, you've got to remember, you're not yarning over from the back, you're yarning over from the front. And it's going to be really difficult to learn your brain around this. Okay, so the way I do it, hopefully I'll do this right, is you catch your yarn and pull it through and twist up. So you've got your two loops. Again, you catch your yarn from, so they're not from this way, but from behind it, catch it, and then you pull through. Now, if you tighten your work after each stitch, most people tighten away and towards, but you do it, but you're just opposite. So you pull the yarn towards you to tighten it. And now the second one should be easier. So again, you've got to make sure you catch both loops. So you come through from the other side, okay, and keeping the yarn in front, catch and pull through. Again, catch from behind and pull through, and then tighten towards you. And then you'll carry on. So through both loops from behind, catch from underneath and through, catch from behind and through and tighten towards you. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on. Through both, and so it's not very fast, and you do have to pay attention that you get through both loops at the same time, because sometimes the little V of your stitch can be kind of pushed away from you and you might only catch the top loop. So always make sure you catch both loops. Stitch, keep the yarn between you and the hook. Tighten towards you. Okay, right, as I say, it's not very fast, but you do pick up speed. Oh, excuse me, as you progress through. So I'll just hopefully get to the end of the row. Both loops from behind, catch, pull through, catch, pull through, tighten. And a few more to go. So if you can hear whirring in the background, we have a very heat wave going on in the UK at the moment, which is quite amazing. So we've got fans blowing. Okay, and the last one. Sorry, I need to turn to find it. A little bit tricky. Oh, come on, fingers. There we go. Sorry. Mess of that last one. Okay, now don't forget to chain. Now you have to chain backwards as well. Okay, so you chain. Okay, and then you turn the normal way. And then your next row will be a normal way, right-handed, single crochet row. So through from the front. I've got a dodgy right wrist, so I probably crochet in a completely different manner to a lot of people. I hold it in the way like of a fork or spoon, and I tend to twist the hook in my fingers so that I don't move this right wrist so much. So forgive my technique, it's not shall we say the most common process of holding the hook and the yarn. It's what works for me, so however you want to hold is fine. Okay, so just get to the end of these normal single crochets. So I'm only using this large hook just so you can see the actual stitches, but those minion patterns, which are actually by Aradia Toys, if you want to visit her, she's got an Etsy shop and a website and a Twitter and Facebook page. It's ARADIYA Toys. Okay, chain one. So remember, so that's 2 rows done, 1 row normal, 1 row backwards, and then you turn, so keep the yarn towards you, and we'll carry on again. Oh, so through that first one can be a bit tricky. Catch from behind, pull through, loop, pull through, and tighten towards. Okay, I'm going to carry on and do a couple of more rows of backwards, forwards, and then we'll catch up again. So I'm just coming to the end of this backwards row. I shall show you once again. So you come in through both loops from behind, keeping the yarn towards you, and then you catch the yarn from behind, and then keeping the yarn between you and the hook, you catch it, and then pull through, and then tighten towards you. Don't tighten that way, otherwise it will rotate the stitch and look really odd. Through the loop from behind, catch and pull through, yarn in between you and the hook, loop, pull through, tighten towards. So through both loops from behind, catch the yarn, pull through, loop. Now I found as well that as you catch the yarn and pull through, your natural inclination is maybe to twist under, but you should twist out and away from you to keep no twists in the stitch. So when you pull through, instead of twisting towards you, you twist away. That keeps the stitch neat. And a backwards chain at the end, and then I'll just finish off there and rotate. Okay, so hopefully you can see the first few rows up to about there were done by just the foundation chain, and then came back, chain one, turn the work and work right to left normally, chain one, turn the work right to left normally. And then what I did instead is I chained one, so from here up, and then I worked backwards. So through the back of the loop, coming through, chain one, turn and work normally, chain one and work backwards, chain one, work normally, and chain one, work backwards. So you still turn the work and you still chain one at the end of each row. It might be a bit difficult to see, but you can definitely see it between these two here. This is basically the same pattern using just different yarns, different hook sizes. So you can see with the rows, sorry, phone's ringing. They can wait. So you have the definite stripe pattern appear when you're doing chain one, turn, standard working. But you keep the stitch pattern the same if you chain one and turn and then work backwards through the back of the stitch. So there you go. I hope I haven't confused the issue even more than before, but whether I've come up with that as my own stitch, I have no idea. I haven't been able to find another YouTube thing showing it, but I'm sure someone else has done this, because like me, they don't particularly like this zigzaggy kind of alternate line pattern that comes into the stitch. Okay, so that's it from me. Hopefully it's something you can give a go.